In the beginning of human history, trading existed between us. Trade was essential for communication and unity of human beings. Barter caused people to come together to trade items. From bartering, people began to finally make markets, places where they can trade items with each other. Markets eventually started to increase in numbers, and people were able to trade things. Some of the items that were originally traded were spices, textiles, and metals such as gold, copper, and iron. From this long history of markets, it caused people to communicate and bond more even up to today. Currently, there are markets that exist globally. One of the markets we will focus on is located in Philadelphia. My name is Timothy Lee, and we'll be talking about Reading Terminal Market. It all began in 1890. The Reading Railroad Company wanted to make a railroad station in the center of Philadelphia with its 4 terminals. They planned it to be on the corner of 12th and Market Street. The company purchased the area for $1 million. The only thing that was preventing them from being able to build the terminal was that an open market occupied the block. They have been there for 30 years and now are actually sourcing their produce from New Jersey. The names of the markets are Farmers Market, Butcher's Market, and Franklin Market. When the Reading Railroad Company asked them to leave the block, the markets refused. They wanted to stay in their location and sell their items there. So the Reading Railroad Company decided to compromise with the markets. They said they would build an indoor market under the station, allowing trains to pass above and the market to survive. The markets agreed with this compromise also because outdoor markets were unpopular. They were considered health hazards and that it prevented traffic from moving through. This annoyed the public, making these types of markets unpopular. After the markets finally agreed with the plan, construction finally began to make the Reading Terminal Market in 1891. The market would be under the train station, tucked within it. By February 23, 1892, construction finished on the Reading Terminal Market and it was finally opened. Upon the opening of the Reading Terminal Market, it was approximately 78,000 square feet. It had almost 800 stalls for merchants to sell items. The Reading Terminal Market was organized in a grid-like pattern, almost like the streets of Philadelphia itself. There were 12 aisles and 4 avenues. It was the perfect location for easy receiving and shipping goods. Because of how grand and amazing the market was, many people bragged about how it was better and that it was very large. For example, it bragged about how it had a very large refrigeration system. Some of the many features mentioned that it has 500,000 cubic feet of space and 52 separate rooms, each cooled to individual temperatures. 15 to 25 degrees for meat and poultry, 34 degrees for fruits and vegetables. The refrigeration system included an array of pumps, compressors, and other equipment to handle the brine and ammonia used in its operation. Several years after the claim, a person who would see its refrigeration would find tens of thousands of pounds of food and produce within it. Besides the bragging of its refrigeration system, Reading President Agnew T. Dice also bragged about how prestigious Reading Terminal Market was. He said that it was at that time the largest market located in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, and the largest market in the United States under a single roof. From all this, the future of the Reading Terminal Market started to look bright, until one of the biggest events in United States history happened. Terminal market started to decline during the Great Depression. Originally, farmers were able to sell a lot of crops and gain a lot of money. Food was little and expensive during this time. There was a lot of demand for food, being the reason why farmers made so much money. Eventually, the market started to suffer and lost many merchants. First of all, the revenue of the railroad above started to decrease. They couldn't gain enough money to support the market below. They didn't have as much money to keep the market in good condition. Because of this, the roof of the Reading Terminal Market also started to leak. Merchants had to place buckets under the roof to prevent floods of water within the market or it would leak everywhere. Even though the water that would leak would be contained, it also eroded a lot of the building, causing it to break down. The ceiling paint would crumble and fall off from the leaking. Besides the struggle of it and its decreasing conditions, new regulations caused merchants to buy new equipment. Without these purchases, the merchants wouldn't be able to sell produce and items. Prices to purchase the equipment were too expensive. With the fact that the building was deteriorating, many merchants left the market. It was a hassle to switch all the equipment, causing them to leave. The Reading Railroad Company also raised the rent for the merchants. It was hard for them to pay with the decrease of customers within the market. Many merchants left to the point where only merchants with good customers stayed. 30 of the remaining 56 merchants left. By 1971, the Reading Railroad Company declared bankruptcy. The Reading Company no longer spent money on the upkeep of the market. The company didn't really care about the survival of it. Eventually, in 1980, the Reading Company came out of bankruptcy and started to finally help the market. During this time, the idea of preserving history was quite new, and an important factor of the Reading Terminal Market today. Before the reconstruction of the market, the idea of preserving history came into the minds of Philadelphians about it. They felt it was a key part of Philadelphia history and that it had a lot of important events within it. So they decided to have a grand reconstruction of the market, making it new again. Philadelphians with the fire in their eyes immediately demanded assurances that the venerable, gustatory jewel under the silent tracks would be part of the rehabilitation plan for the building. It was agreed, and construction to revitalize the market began in the early 1990s. The Pennsylvania Convention Center Authority purchased the market from the Reading Railroad Company. So around the early 1990s, construction on the market began, revitalizing it while still retaining its old Philly environment. The market was still in business during the reconstruction. When it was finished, many people started to come to see the new and improved Reading Terminal Market. They wanted to see how it compared and changed from the old version. It gained more and more popularity with merchants purchasing stalls to sell items. By 2000, 100% of the market was occupied with much tourism. From that point on, it seemed that it would have a permanently bright future for it, attracting many people around the world to try and experience it. Several days ago, I visited the market to gain more information about it. When I was there, I asked vendors questions about working there and how they liked it there. Here are some of the footage of the interviews. The first one is from Nani's Kitchen, the second one is from Herschel's East Side, and the last one is from Frank's Lot.
Can you say your name and the name of your business here?
My name is Danish, and the name of my business is Nani's Kitchen.
Okay, so when did your business first come to the market?
We first came to the market in 2003.
Okay, so what type of items do you sell here? What type of food here?
We have Indian Pakistani cuisine. It's gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian, and halal meat that we serve here.
So what type of consumers do you meet on a daily basis?
There's different kind of consumers. We have a lot of locals and we have tourists, so we have a mix of both.
And how does the market affect your everyday life?
Well, this is pretty much my everyday life. So I come here to work, and the nice thing is the market closes. Doesn't stay open too late, so I have a life after work as well. So it's nice.
And last question is, do you love it here?
I love it here. This is an amazing market. It's a historic market, and it's a great privilege to be in the market that's been open as long as it has. And it's a great community of merchants here, and the customers are great. And so, yeah, I feel very blessed to be here.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you.
So what's your name and the name of the business?
I'm Justin here at Herschel's East Side Deli.
So when did your business first come to the market?
It's been about 10 years. What year was it? 2007? 2006?
2006, 11 years.
It's going on over 11 years now from 2006 until today.
So what type of items and products do you sell?
We specialize in pastrami, corned beef, brisket, and turkey. We've had a crazy day today, so there is no pastrami or turkey right now, but if you want to get a shot of the corned beef, go for it.
So what type of consumers do you see on a daily basis?
In the market, you see everybody. People from here, people from all over the country, all over the world. local celebrities, news people, athletes, everybody. Cool place to work.
So how does the market affect your everyday life?
Well, it provides our livelihood, but we stay busy because of its proximity to the convention center. So just the constant business, keeps us busy, pays the bills.
And the last question is, do you love it here?
We do. We love working here. I come here when I'm not working. I bring my family here. We all love it.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Can you say your name and the name of the business?
Sure, I'm Russell Black, and the name of my business is Frank's a Lot.
So when did your business come to the market?
The business actually opened in 1982. Two women started the business. I worked for them and then purchased it from them in the beginning of 1991.
So because your market was created so early, how was your experiences during the renovation in the early 1990s?
The renovations essentially started about a year and a half after I took ownership of the business. But prior to that, I just mentioned a little bit how deplorable the conditions were in the market. The ceiling was essentially covered almost entirely with plastic because the roof on the train shed was in such disrepair that when it would rain outside, all that rainwater would come into the market. So there would be plastic just draped with water, dirty, filthy brown water collected, hanging from the ceilings, and every once in a while that plastic would give way on a customer or within a store. But I have very good memories of days where it would stop raining outside, and a half hour later it was still raining in the market, and customers walking around with umbrellas. And just in the neighboring aisle, I remember one day there being over an inch of water just flowing down the aisle. So it was quite a situation. But as far as the renovation is concerned, as you probably know, the market was, they tried to close down the market, and the merchants retained lawyers, and there was a legal battle. The market was able to stay open. And the renovations were done in, I believe, 5 or 6 sections. So they would put up a plywood wall from ceiling to floor, and they would relocate that dozen or so businesses, whatever it was, to open spaces within the market. Because at that time, the market was not fully occupied, so they could do that. Essentially, everybody was just told when they did do your section and your business was moved, you literally just walked away from all your equipment, and they sent you up with temporary equipment. That wasn't necessarily the case in most cases. For example, I baked barbecue chicken. I had no ovens for 3 weeks, so I would run through the market cooking at 3 different merchants at one time, using their ovens for a number of weeks. There were days where I would only take in less than $100. That whole process generally, with each section, usually took 2 to 3 months, and then you were moved back into your store. But the circumstances were that you were being told your store was finished or almost finished. However, that was not really the case. For example, and there was a lot of, I don't want to put down the unions, but there were a lot of mistakes made by the unions. And my brand new ovens, I was cooking chicken for 3 hours at 550 degrees, and it should have taken 40 minutes at 350 degrees because the ovens were hooked up incorrectly. That's just an example of, it was just a long list of mistakes that were made. So you were kind of thrown back into your store. One of the memories of the renovation of the market was when they relocated the restrooms outside to Filbert Street, and that the homeless people just loved that. It was really quite an interesting situation with all the homeless people when customers didn't want to go out there and use the restrooms. But everyone got through it. we were getting subsidies for loss of income, and I don't think we were charged rent at the time, but it was still difficult to survive through that renovation period. And it went on for almost 2 years. Customers would come in here, they wouldn't be able to find merchants because, basically we were, relying on handmade cardboard signs saying, Frank's Lot's this way, and go here and turn left, and, if it wasn't for true die-hard ready-to market customers, probably most businesses would have probably failed through that renovation period.
So, what type of items do you sell here?
The menu at Frank's Lot consists of, initially the basis was hot dogs, but it grew into barbecue chicken, burgers, all good basic American healthy food, meatball sandwiches, Italian sausage. We have various types of baked chicken. I think I mentioned burgers, meatball sandwiches. A lot of our sauces are homemade, homemade macaroni and cheese.
So, and also, what type of consumers do you meet on a daily basis?
With the market being a center city market, it really draws a vast array of customers from low-income areas to high-income areas, center city, people that live in center city. I don't know if you're aware, but the market is the #1 most visited tourist spot, more than even the Liberty Bell in the city of Philadelphia. So just to give you an idea how many tourists the market sees.
So, and how does the market affect your everyday life?
The market affects my everyday life in a lot of ways. It's a great distraction. It is 7 days a week. It affects my life, I'd say, in a good way, sometimes in a bad way, because it is 7 days a week, but I love doing it.
And last, it's just, do you love it here?
Absolutely. I grew up here. I started working after school when I was in high school, when I was 15, kept it through college, bought the business in my very early 20s when I was still in college. I basically grew up here. I really would have no other choice but to love the place. No, it's really a fantastic place, and I truly feel very fortunate to have ownership of the business in such a wonderful public market.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
The Reading Terminal Market is an example of how trading affected the history of humanity. It brought people together, allowing them to communicate with one another and socialize, developing relationships with each other. It helped to unite us. From the effects of bartering and the increase of markets, it allowed the Reading terminal market to exist and proved to be how important trading was.